A bunch of the boys are whooping it up in the Malamute saloon, and the kid that handled the music box was playing a jagtime tune, and back of the bar in a solo game sat Dangerous Dan McGrew, and watching his luck was his light of love, the lady that's known as Lou, which went out of the night, which was 50 below, and into the din and the glare there stumbled a miner fresh from the creeks, dog dirty and loaded for bear. And he looked like a man with a foot in the grave and scarcely the strength of a louse, yet he tilted his polka dust on the bar and called for drinks for the house. There's none could place that stranger's face, though we searched ourselves for a clue. But we drank to his health, and the last to drink was Dangerous Dan McGrew. Now there's men that somehow just grip your eyes and hold 'em hard like a spell. And such was he, and he looked to me like a man who had lived in hell, with the face most hair and the dreary stare of a dog whose day is done. He watered the green stuff in his glass, and the drops fell one by one. And I got to figuring who he was, and wondering what he'd do, and I turned my head, and in watching him there was the lady that's known as Lou. Now, the Jagtime Kid was having a drink, and there was no one else on the stool, and so the stranger stumbled across the room and flopped down there like a fool. And he clutched at those keys with his taloned hands. My, but that man could play. Were you ever out in the great alone when the moon was awful clear, and the icy mountains hemmed you in with a silence you most could hear? And only the howl of the timber wolf, you camped alone in the cold, a half-dead thing in a stark dead world, clean mad for the muck called gold, while high overhead, green, yellow, and red, the north light swept in bars. Then you've a hunch what the music meant, night, hunger, and the stars. And a hunger not of the belly kind that's banished with bacon and beans, but the gnawing hunger of a lonely man for a home and all that it means, for a fireside far from the cares that are, and four walls and a roof above, and a house oh so cramful of cozy joy, and crowned with a woman's love. A woman more dear than all this world, and true as heaven is true. I guess I'll make it a spread misere, said Dangerous Dan McGrew. Well, then the music almost died away, and then it burst like a pin-up flight, and it seemed to say, repay, repay, and my eyes went blind with blood. And the thought awoke of an ancient wrong, and it stung like a frozen lash, and the urge awoke to kill, and the music stopped with a crash. And the stranger turned, and his eyes are burned, in a most peculiar way. In his buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt, he sat, and I saw him sway. And then his lips curled in a kind of a grin, and he spoke, and his voice was calm. And voice, said he, you don't know me, and none of you give a damn, but I'm here to state, and my words are straight, and I'll bet my pokes are true, that one of you is a hound from hell, and that one is Dan McGrew. And I ducked my head, and the lights went out, and two guns blazed in the dark, and a woman screamed, and the lights came up. Two forms lay stiff and stark. Pitched on his head and pumped full of lead lay Dangerous Dan McGrew, while a stranger from the creeks lay clutched to the breast of the lady that's known as Lou. Now these are the simple facts of the case, and I guess I ought to know. And some say the stranger was crazed with hooch, and I'm not denying it so. And I'm not as wise as these lawyer guys, but strictly between us two, the woman that kissed him and pinched his poke was the lady that's known as Lou.